Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the hidden stories in company filings and tease out the juicy details that truly matter. Today we're diving deep into OriginClear's latest financial report, and let me tell you, it's quite the ride with some dramatic shifts and a clear pivot in strategy. So what's the big picture here? OriginClear, or OCLN as they're known, is trying to reposition itself not just as a water treatment company, but as a clean water innovation hub using a financial technology approach. They've got a subsidiary called Water on Demand, or WODI, and that's where a lot of the action is. Let's talk about the money. For the 3 months ending June 30, 2025, revenue was $941,1800. That's a drop from the same time last year when they brought in 10,541 dollars. It's a roughly $41. It's a roughly 10% decrease, and they're saying it's mainly due to lower equipment contract revenue. But here's where it gets really interesting. The cost to make that revenue skyrocketed. Cost of goods sold jumped from about $400,000 to a whopping $1.6 million in the same period. That's almost a 300% increase. Unsurprisingly, this turned a healthy profit in the previous year into a gross loss of over $658,000 this quarter. That's a massive swing. On the bright side, the selling and marketing expenses actually went down significantly. They spent about $28,000 on this in the recent quarter, down from nearly $38,000 last year. They attribute this to less advertising and fewer marketing projects. General and administrative expenses also decreased. They were around $728,000 in the prior year period. Lower legal and professional fees helped them save money here, though payroll and benefits went up a bit. Now for the really volatile part, other income and expenses. This line item is always a roller coaster for OriginClear 5. This section showed a huge expense of over $6.4 million. This is a massive change from the same period in 2024, which actually showed an income of over $3.8 million, a big reason for this flip a loss on the conversion of debt amounting to over $8 million. A big reason for this flip a loss on the conversion of debt amounting to over $8 million. A big reason for this flip a loss on the conversion of debt amounting to over $8 million. A big reason for this flip a loss on the conversion of debt amounting to over $8.3 million. The big reason for this flip a loss on the conversion of debt amounting to over $8.3 million. Putting it all together, the company reported a net loss of over $8 million for the 3 months ending June 30, 2025. Compare that to a net profit of over $2.8 million in the same period last year. That's a drastic turn from profit to a significant loss. Looking at the first 6 months of the year, revenue actually increased by about 18% to $2.3 million from $1.9 million in the prior year. This sounds good, but on closer inspection, the cost to generate this revenue also went up drastically. Cost of sales jumped by 71%. This means they ended up with a gross loss of over $153,000 compared to a gross profit of over $529,000 last year. The gross margin really took a hit, dropping from about 27% to a negative 6.5%. Owning your own production seems to be a cost center right now for them. Selling and marketing expenses were cut almost in half for the first 6 months, from $1.2 million to about $651,000. This is a good sign of trimming the fat in that area. General and administrative expenses also decreased by about 13%. This is due to lower legal and professional costs, which is a positive. In the other income and expenses category, for the first 6 months of the year, it was an expense of over $6.3 million. Compared to an even larger expense of over $10 million in the prior year period. So it looks like they improved on that front by almost $4 million, thanks in part to gains on derivative liabilities. The bottom line for the first 6 months shows a net loss of over $8.2 million. While this is still a loss, it's an improvement compared to the $13.5 million loss in the same period last year. This improvement is mainly due to lower overall expenses and those favorable adjustments to derivative liabilities. Now, let's see how they're managing their cash. For the first 6 months of 2025, they used over $1.6 million in cash for operations. This is an improvement from the previous year, which used over $2.1 million for operations. So they are using less cash to run the business, but they are still burning through it. Financing activities provided cash of over $2.4 million in the first half of 2025 compared to over $2,009 million in the same period last year. This is how they are funding their operations, and it seems they are still able to raise money. Their cash position looks much better though. They started the year with about $371,000 and ended June with over $1.2 million in cash. This is a significant increase and likely due to their financing efforts. One of the key things about OriginClear and its subsidiary Wadi is their use of convertible notes. These are basically loans that can be turned into ownership shares. As of June 30, 2025, OriginClear itself had over $2.6 million in these notes outstanding. OD, on the other hand, retired all of its $21.3 million in secured convertible notes. That's a huge financial maneuver, and it came with a significant loss on extinguishment of over $8.3 million in secured convertible notes. That's a huge financial maneuver, and it came with a significant loss on extinguishment of over $8.3 million in secured convertible notes. That's a huge financial maneuver, and it came with a significant loss on extinguishment of over $8.3 million in secured convertible notes. On extinguishment of over notes. That's a huge financial maneuver, and it came with a significant loss on extinguishment of over $8.3 million. Then there's the Series Y preferred stock, which is quite unique. Holders get a share of the company's profits. During this period, they raised another $25,000 from this and had some conversions. It's a creative way to fund operations, but also adds complexity. They also did something interesting with their OriginClear shares and their subsidiary Wadi. They redeemed quite a few of their own shares and offered investors a chance to invest in Wadi instead. This is a strategic move, potentially shifting focus and value to the subsidiary. Speaking of Wadi, they're really pushing the financing angle. They are aiming to create an Opportunity Zone Fund, which is a special government plan to encourage investment in certain areas through tax breaks. They want to raise up to $200 million for this. The idea is to finance water treatment systems in underserved communities using this fund. Their core business remains PWT, which handles the actual water treatment engineering and manufacturing. They moved to a larger facility in Sherman, Texas. This seems to be the stable operational part of the company. Now let's talk about a critical risk factor. They are in default on 4 series of preferred stock that have reached their redemption dates. That's a total of nearly $400,000 in unpaid redemption obligations. They plan to address this through their capital raising efforts, but it's a clear sign of financial strain. Interestingly, the company states that their disclosure controls and procedures were not effective as of the end of the quarter. They blame this on the complexity of certain non-routine transactions like debt and equity conversions and a small finance team. This is a red flag for investors as it suggests potential weaknesses in how they report their financial information. Transparency and accurate reporting are crucial in the financial world. Overall, OriginClear is in a challenging financial position. They have recurring losses and are heavily reliant on raising capital to stay afloat. Their cash balance has improved, but the overall business still shows a significant burn rate. The strategic shift towards a financing model with the Opportunity Zone Fund is a bold move to attract capital and potentially generate revenue through financial services rather than just manufacturing. However, the success of this strategy hinges on their ability to raise that $200 million and manage the inherent complexities of that structure. The default on preferred stock and the disclosure control issues are serious concerns that investors need to watch closely. Alright, that's our deep dive into OriginClear's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.